So when I look in myself, at the moment there's a fight going on. The fight of the body who is trying to fight the intruders. The intruders we normally call cold or fever. When I pay attention to that and concentrate my energy on the body, it will help the body to fight them off easily. If I do not concentrate, do this or do that, then it won't help. So giving talks on Dhamma, that draws out enormously energy, is not really helpful. Last time after the last talk I had a big relapse. I noticed it. But who cares? I don't care. Pleasant feelings, sickness, unpleasant feelings. To be alive or to be sick, to be dead or to be alive, it really does not matter to me. But it's something that matters to you enormously. When you're sick, you're running for the doctor. Please, please, please help me. Give me something to get rid of my sickness. When you are hungry, you're running for that person or that person. Please, please, please help me. Give me something that aligns my hunger. And so on, and so on, and so on. If they don't give us what we need, we curse them. That's the usual way of our interaction with the world. And if something is wrong, we look for a culprit. If it's some sickness, we go and see the doctor and ask for some cure. And if he cannot cure us, we're getting angry at him. A stupid doctor. I want to see the next doctors, and after a while, we say, oh, they're all stupid. They don't know how to deal with my sickness. They don't understand. It's the way of our interaction with the world. It is just like the Christians, they run, if some misery hits them, they run into the church and they ask the Lord to take away that burden from their shoulders. And of course the Lord does not do that. However, if they're going to win in the lottery, they are not going to run into the church and ask the Lord to take that burden from them. They might say, that is my luck, that is my privilege. To win in the lottery, to be a millionaire. So isn't that strange? If something miserable happens to us, we're going to curse that person who put the misery on us. But if something is going good, in the good ways, we do not. So the Lord just gives us the bad things in Christianity. Or when we are Buddhists, we run to the Lord Buddha or to one of these arahants, or to the ladies, who are in heaven, and ask them to take away from them. Why on heaven did you do that on me? Huh? It never, ever, ever crosses our mind that we ourselves are the culprits. All the problems lie in us. The sickness that comes from within us. The misery that befalls us comes from within us. And the good luck that comes and befalls us comes from within us. Everything is coming from within us. Everything, the source of it is all the chitta. Now, chitta, if somebody doesn't know that yet, it's mind and heart. It's a combination of mind and heart. It's what's called chitta, or when you're familiar with the Christian terms, then it's soul. Everything originates from the soul, or originates from the chitta. The misery or the good things. The bad things or the good things. The evil things or the holy things. They all originate from the same source, from our very, very own chitta. But all our life we have been running for and finding the culprit for all the situations we got into. Now, isn't it time to wake up and take responsibility of ourselves? Living a life of responsibility. Being responsible for our own actions. We have come to understand now in this age that there's a law of physics, and when you throw something up, it must come down. And there's something that governs the universe, and that is the law of karma. Whatever you will do will have an effect. And this effect will come back to you. The law of the boomerang. You throw it up and it comes back to you. You throw it to hit people to cut off their head, and then it comes back to you and to cut off your head. That's the law of karma. That is ruling this universe. That is the universal law. And all the laws of physics or chemics are derived from that. Whatever we do will have an effect. I guess when we are a little bit educated now in the West, we do know that. But when we do things for ourselves, we don't even think, we do not even consider that it will have an effect. That will come back to us and haunt us if it's a bad effect, or embrace us if it's a good effect. Depending on our intention, depending on our action. If we are, for instance, if we are generous, if we easily give to other people, then people will easily give to us. It comes back. But if we are stingy, then this stinginess comes back. If we see people, in their misery and do not help them, and then we are put into a situation where we need help, and nobody comes and helps us. Because of our previous action. And everything happens because of our previous action. Whatever happens right now at this very moment happens because of our previous action. Yes? Isn't it? Hey. It's much younger now, no? It's older, no? So when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up and take responsibility for our life? When are we going to stop blaming others for our misery? When? When it's the time? When it's the time that we actually grow up? In this world there are so many fools, and the oldest fools are the biggest fools. They're still children. They don't take action, They don't take responsibility. When we have a family and when we have children, we try to teach our children to take responsibility. But we ourselves don't. At least not in the broad sense. We always look for somebody. We always look for the culprit. Who is responsible for our sickness, or illness, for our misery, or that there is no bread on the table, or that there is nothing to drink. And you're sure, and I'm sure you will find them. If it's not the family, it's not your partner. If it's not the children, then it's the local government or the global government. And, there's anybody, who's responsible for this flood, that came us and then pulled us away, or for the what is it? The high winds. Hurricanes, yes. They even have names now. Hurricane Olga hit the Mississippi area, and so on. So, we blame the government that it didn't warn us beforehand. So we are dying in it. Or our house is lost. Our money is lost. Or this is lost. Everything is lost because of our karma. And everything is gained because of our karma. Be it material things. Be it spiritual things. And be it the body. Illness like this, cold and things, we came to understand that it just happened. And it does happen. You catch it. Mostly when you're low on energy. When the body doesn't have the strength to fight the viruses. That's when you most of the time catch it. So it's actually a time to pull back, get a little bit less active, and heal yourself. But other things come from karma, come from previous lives, from things that we have done in our previous life. Just think, a few lives ago, we have been a very courageous woman, who was always attacked by men. And the only way, to fight off the men is to kick them in their balls. Now that is very effective. That is the place that hurts the most. And everybody, every man, will be at least, put out of order for a few minutes. So it's the most effective weapon a woman has, but we also use it between men and men in a situation. So, and then we forget all about this. In this life we are reborn, and then suddenly we have some problems with the testicles. We don't know where it's coming from. And of course we blame our parents, because to give us these genes. Or blame the situations, or blame our upbringing, or blame this, or blame that. We just forgot, and it just came from the past. And so is it with any kind of illness that is more serious. It comes from the past. Don't do unto others. The best law that we can follow. Don't do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. Follow it. Just don't say anything. Don't think anything that you don't want to come back to you. Even thoughts are coming back to you and are going to haunt you. Thoughts of fright, thoughts of fear, thoughts of terror, thoughts of destruction are going to haunt you if you're going to think them a long time. Everything is coming back to us. It's not that things, just annihilate. We know that. We know that in physics. We know that in chemistry. Nothing is going to be annihilated. It changes its form. It's coming back. And then it changes its form again. And then suddenly it's there. But then it's there just in front of our eyes. And last time, it was in the front of other eyes. So, take up a responsibility for your actions. And know that everything that we have done, and everything that we have experienced now, is the result of our own actions. Be it fortune or be it misery. And the culprit is right there within our own heart. It's right there within our own chitta. It's nowhere else. So stop blaming others. Just stop blaming others. And blame yourself. It's the first thing, to blame myself. And the next thing is to get rid of it. So that we don't need to blame ourselves. So the first stage of practice is actually to accept all the evil that is within our own chitta. It doesn't help, to push it down. The more we push it down, the more it comes up to the surface. We see it with all these people, who want to be holy people, especially in the church. If they are monks or priests, they want to be more holier than the rest of the world, so they push back all their evil, and then the next moment, or the next year, or the next decade, it comes back up, and it haunts them, and they fall over their own unforgivingness to themselves. So it's not the way. It's not the way of practice, to look down on others. It's not the way of practice to look down on oneself. It's the way of practice is to look at oneself and accept the fact. Obviously, somebody, like we look at our books, our accountant books. There are the books, of income, and there are the books of outcome. If the outcomes are greater, well, we have to do something, don't we? But with karma, it's not possible that we can get rid of bad karma by doing a lot of good karma. That's not possible. You cannot balance it out. Bad karma is bad karma. It's just bad things that we have done. It must come back to us. Good things that we have done will come back to us the same way. But there are places where we can go and relieve this kind of karma. Well, if it's bad karma, what does it mean? We go down to the lower realms. In other words, in worldly words, we are going to the prison for a while, for all our bad deeds. In the world there is a law. Each country has its law, and if you do not follow the law, you have to go to prison. Maybe you get, sometimes, if it's not heavy enough, you get a fine. But you get some sort of punishment. So why shouldn't it happen in the spiritual life as well? Everything. It's the same thing. So our bad karma will be relieved down in the lower realms. Maybe the animal realms, if you killed a lot of animals, or you're responsible for the death of a lot of animals. Or we go to the ghost realms, or demon realms, or hell realms. Whatever kind of karma we have. If we have a lot of good karma, then we go up to the heavenly realms. And we leave it there. And then we come back to the human realm and do a lot of karma. Every moment that we live, we do a lot of karma. To live for the next 200,000 years either in heaven or in hell. Just within 70 years, we can acquire so much karma that we can live in the other realms for quite a long time. And for us, 200,000 years is quite a long time. Our history, accounts maybe for 10,000 years that we can remember, or that we have traces of. History of civilization. Just think about, going to hell for the next 10,000 years. When you come back out of hell, you don't even know what is going on here on this world. Well, what happened to Tenachan Man? Some people from the hell realms came and asked him, to beg their relatives, to do some merit for him. And then he asked, where do they live? And they told him about a world that doesn't even exist anymore. It was such a long time that I've been down to the hell realms and it doesn't even exist anymore. Continents have gone or whatever. And it's quite easy to do a lot of bad karma. It's so difficult to do a lot of good karma. The thing that prevents us from going down to the lower realms, the Lord Buddha, laid it out for us. It's following the 5 precepts. The 5 moral precepts. Follow them as good as you can. As best as you can. In order to follow them better, have a lot of sati, have a lot of mindfulness, have a lot of awareness of what you are doing. Awareness of what you're doing right now, just right now at the moment. This looks like the Dhamma just has stopped right now. Must have been an intrusion of foreign invaders coming. So, look at the body. How it is feeling. What it is doing. When we walk, when we sit, when we do any kind of activity. Be aware of what is going on in the body. When the body feels sick, be aware of the sickness. When the body is in pain, be aware of the pain. There's nothing we have to run away from. It really doesn't matter. To a person, it doesn't really matter if the body is sick or if the body is healthy. It matters to the kilesas. What we can do with this body when it's sick, we can't do anything. That's why it's such a painful state. But it's a painful state for the kilesas, not a painful state for us. For the chitta, it doesn't care. If our car runs down or breaks down, we just take it to the garage. When it gets back, we get it back. We can drive it again. And so is it with the body. We take it to the doctor, to repair it, and once it's repaired, we just don't even care. Once it's repaired, we drive it back at full speed until it breaks down again. That's what we do with our car, don't we? And that's the same thing we do with our body. We just take it to the repair station. It's called hospital. That's the bodily repair station. If it's taking too long there, we might want to have another body. But in case of our car that breaks down, we can rent another car. But in case of our body, we have just to stick it out. We just have to wait until it comes back into shape, or until it dies and is reborn again. But there's nothing wrong. Being sick or being healthy, nothing wrong. If the kilesas don't have any more power, there's nothing wrong with it. The kilesas constantly want to do something. They want to read, they want to go here, they want to go on a spiritual tourism. Or consume a lot of spiritual things. Don't be warned, You can die of indigestion. Just like this monk at the time of the Lord Buddha, who was so stingy in his previous life that when he ordained as a monk at the times of the Lord Buddha, wherever he went, he didn't even get a handful of rice in his bowl. It didn't matter, the monks in front got a lot, a full bowl. The monks in the back, got a full bowl. But he just got a handful of rice. That's all what he got. And that is due because of the stinginess of his past previous life. So the Lord Moggallana and the Venerable Ananda and the Venerable Moggallana thought, that is very strange. Let's have a look at that. And what is happening? So they filled up his bowl. But 2 or 3 minutes later, the bowl was empty. Just left a handful of rice. So all his time as a monk, he never got his full share. He never actually eaten enough. He always constantly was hungry. And that was due to his stinginess. So the Moggallana thought, let's help him, Let's take the hand of the devas who were actually taking the food from this monk, because they think such a stingy man shouldn't have enough to eat. So he made it happen that this monk actually, for the first time in his life, had a full bowl. So he could eat his full share. Now what happened? Because of his stinginess in this evening, because of indigestion, he died. 6 hours later, he died of indigestion. Because his body was not used to eat so much food. So, and most of you are not not ready, and you will die of indigestion, if you consume a lot of Dhamma. And especially if it's Dhamma from the different various aspects of Tibetan Zen and Ron tradition. It will just confuse your mind. It's a spiritual indigestion. It will just confuse your mind. And in the end, you don't know what to do. You just don't know what to do. This teacher says this, that teacher says that. What shall I do now? You just don't know. You give up. Because all what you followed was your kilesas. I want to know this, I want to know that. And that is nothing else than the power of avijja. Avijja is nothing else than wanting to know and wanting to understand. But not being able to know and not being able to understand. That is the power behind greed, hatred and delusion. Avijja. It really wants to understand. If it doesn't understand the tree here, then it wants to understand, the life on the Mars. And if it understands that, it wants to understand the life, that is even further out in the universe. If you don't go in the macrocosmos, then we go into the microcosmos. Wanting to know, wanting to understand. The only thing that we don't want to understand is ourselves. What the hell am I doing right now? We don't want to understand that. Why am I doing it? And what kind of results is that bringing? I don't want to understand this, because that is me. Point. That's me. That's me. That's me. I'm sick. I'm feeling terrible. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. That's me. I don't want to understand that. But I understand why these things happening outside there. That's strange. Because it's easy. To change somebody else is much easier than to change oneself. So we tell our partner, to be a good person. We tell him, how to be a good person. Do this and do that and do that, then you will be a good person. However, we ourselves are the greatest bastards. We just don't follow our own advice that we give to others. Why? Because it's so difficult. It's so easy to tell somebody else, what to do. Yet for us it's so difficult to do it for ourselves. Just like the very simple example, the easiest work in the world. Just keep your concentration on the word Buddha. We are just not able to do that. 1 second later, the mind has gone off. It has gone off in the past, or it has gone off in the future. Or it's sticking with this feeling, or sticking with that feeling. Oh, this I have never seen. This I have never seen. Because all our life we have lived in a house that is where we closed the shutters. The moment we open the shutters, we see what is out there. It has always been out there. It doesn't mean, when we open our eyes by doing our practice, that the things, are appearing there, we are so amazed, have not been there all the time. They have all been there all the time. But you didn't care to open your eyes and see. It's just like, some people, especially in the streets, they're driving out in nature with their car running in the radio. And enjoying nature. They don't even know what nature is. The moment they would turn off the radio, at least they would get some sounds of the nature. The moment they turn off the engine, they would get much more sounds of the nature. And the moment they open the window or open the door, but it has not, all these things, all these sounds, all these happenings have not been there because we couldn't just hear them. Because the noise of our engine was too high, or the noise of the radio was too high, or our windows were closed. Now open up this. Turn off the engine of thoughts, and you will see a lot of things that you have never been able to see. And it's not that they are fresh there, and because of our meditation, all these bad things happen. No, they've always been there. And that is we actually do see the things that are ruling us. When we talk from a psychological point of view, we are going to see the unconsciousness. And the unconsciousness determines mostly our actions in our consciousness. It's not what our consciousness determines the action. The unconsciousness, our feelings, our guts, determine what we are doing and what we are saying. When we're getting angry, we're getting angry. Consciousness doesn't drive in and says, no, you shouldn't be angry. It comes actually in and says, yes, we should be angry. This person really is bad. So when we go and turn off the engine of thoughts and just see, what is happening there. Look at all the phenomena that are there. It doesn't mean that they are new. They have been always there. They're always there. The other worlds of existence are just around our eyes. They're there. We just don't care to see. They are not in the spectrum of our eyes. We cannot see infrared and we cannot see the blue spectrum. So we don't even know what is there out in the blue spectrum. And in the infrared we put in some effort, to get some infrared. But in the blue spectrum, that is pretty huge. We don't even know what kind of beings are there. But we say no, there are no, because we don't see them. We don't see the beings of hell, so there are no beings of hell. We don't see the beings of heaven, so there are no beings of hell. Just because we are blinded, it doesn't mean, they don't exist. It doesn't mean that the hell doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that the heaven doesn't exist just because we don't see it. Actually, we just don't care to open our eyes, that's all. Well, tell your brother who doesn't see all the other people, open your eyes, you can see them. But he loves, to close his eyes, runs around through the world, with his eyes closed. Of course he doesn't see anything, does he? Tell him to open his eyes, and of course you see everything, huh? So where's the problem? It's so difficult. We're so used to our eyes, we are so used to our entertainment factory that we call the body. And it's so difficult. And the moment we try to stick with the Buddha, it's so difficult to stick with him. So we want to go out in our dream factory, in our Hollywood factory, and make all these movies. Dreaming about this, dreaming about that. So when are we going to stop dreaming? Dreams are just dreams. We know Hollywood movies, but we still love to see them, huh? That's why we still love our dreams. Oh, what is happening on the internet or whatever, on the computer, it doesn't matter. Wherever we get some entertainment, we get it. And we lose ourselves. We forget ourselves. We just become animals. Reacting on our instinct. That's why I said in the beginning, that, wake up, take responsibility for your life. Your life is in your hands, huh? Don't leave it to somebody else. Don't leave it up to the kilesas. I can guarantee if you leave it up to the kilesas, they will drive you to hell. Because that's where their fun place is. They want to have all the fun that can be gathered in this world. If you leave it up, if you don't take control of your chitta, if you don't take control of your action, of your thoughts, of your words, of your action, you will end up, you surely will end up down in hell. Lord Jesus said it in the Christianity, the masses are going through the broad door, or the broad gate that leads to destruction. Only few are going the stony path that leads to the world of heaven. The Lord Buddha said it even more clearly when the Venerable Ananda asked him, how many people are going to heaven and how many people are going to hell? He said, do you see that bull over there? The horns are standing for the people who are going to heaven. And the hair on the fur, is standing for all the people who go down to hell. So not just count up. Where are you going? To hell. You don't believe it. Do you? You don't. You just don't believe it. Just like Christians. I am Christian. I believe in Lord. I don't go to hell. Or I'm a Buddhist. I believe in Buddha. I don't go to hell. Of course we all go to hell. That's where we came from and that's where we go. Going from heaven, falling down to hell. Just look at the past lives and you see it. You've been so often to hell and you've been a few times to hell. And that's where you're going again. If you don't take any measures in your life. But just don't be so self-assured. Cocky. That's the attitude of a Western. Cocky. Of course there doesn't exist any hell. And I'm certainly not the person who goes to hell. That person should think very carefully. Because he's the one who is going first there. Because they are not afraid to do bad. They are not afraid to do evil. And that's where they're going. Because for them, hell doesn't exist. Or in their terminology, hell doesn't exist. So that's where they're going. Guaranteed. 100%. Don't even worry. Just being a Buddhist, doesn't help you to get to heaven. Or being back in the human world. If you follow the teachings of the Lord Buddha, if you keep the 5 precepts to the utmost, it is like your passport. A passport allows you to enter a country. And keeping the 5 precepts as a passport to be allowed to enter the human realm again. Well, if you're caught in drunk driving, they will take your driver license away. For 6 months up till 5 or 6 years. That's the same thing happen. If you go against the precepts, well, your passport is taken away and you will have to go down. Be it 3 months or be it 6 years or be it 10,000 years or 100,000 years, it depends on the deed you do. There's laws in our country, I said it before, but some people came later so they just didn't hear it. If you go against the laws, you're going to end up in prison. If you go against the laws of the nature, you're going down to hell. That's very simple. And don't believe, just believing in something or doing something, that will help you. The only thing that prevents it is keeping from now on, is keeping the 5 precepts to the utmost. And if you do not develop any sati, mindfulness, we are not even mindful. The moment we drink, we are not mindful of what we are doing. So we say things and do things that are most regrettable after we wake up again from our drunkenness. That's why drunkenness is one of the precepts. Alcohol and drugs that reduce mindfulness is one of the precepts in Buddhism. And it's the only one. It's the only religion who has this precept. Not taking alcohol and drugs that reduce the mindfulness. Because unmindfulness is the gateway to evil. Is the gateway to hell. But of course we don't believe it, because we are cleverer. We are cleverer than the teachers, we are cleverer than the Buddha, we are cleverer than Jesus and all these people, because we are brought up in the West, so we are brought up to be clever. So our intellect is clever. We can say this person did something wrong, that person did something wrong, but we never look at ourselves. We are constantly doing things wrong. We never do things right. Has it ever occurred to you that you do things right? You always blame other people for their wrongdoing. You never blame yourself for your wrongdoings. So how did I come up on this topic? Must be some people here, that need to hear that. Okay, so let's end this talk. Just take that to mind, or to heart, better to heart.